Have you ever wondered what it would be like to lose everything? Not just your job, but your savings, your home, your hope? For millions of people in the 1930s, this wasn't a nightmare. It was their reality. We call it the Great Depression, but it wasn't some unavoidable act of nature. It was a perfect storm created by three catastrophic mistakes. Today, we're going to uncover how a stock market crash spiraled into a decade of global suffering, and it all starts with a party that got way out of hand. Imagine the 1920s, the roaring 20s. The war was over, technology was booming, and it felt like the sky was the limit. Everyone wanted a piece of the action, and the stock market seemed like a one-way ticket to wealth. People weren't just investing their savings. They were borrowing money to buy more stocks, a practice called buying on margin. It was like gambling with someone else's chips. This leads us to the first critical mistake: unrestrained speculation fueled by easy credit. The stock market became a bubble, detached from the real value of the companies it represented. The music was playing, and everyone was dancing, ignoring the fact that the floor was about to collapse. And collapse it did. On October 29, 1929, Black Tuesday, the party came to a screeching halt. Panic selling erupted. The market went into a freefall. Fortunes built on paper vanished in hours. But here's the crucial point. A stock market crash, on its own, doesn't have to cause a decade-long depression. It should have been a painful but contained financial event. However, it exposed a deep fragility in the banking system, which brings us to the second and perhaps most devastating mistake. In the 1930s, when you put your money in a bank, the bank didn't just lock it in a vault. It lent most of it out to other people and businesses. This is how banks work. But here's the problem. When the market crashed, many of those loans went bad. Worse, there was no safety net, no FDIC insurance like we have today. If your bank failed, your life savings were gone. Forever. The crash created fear, and fear led to bank runs. People, terrified of losing everything, rushed to withdraw their cash. This became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Even healthy banks couldn't survive thousands of customers demanding all their money at once. They collapsed one after another, like dominoes. This is where the Federal Reserve, America's central bank, faced its most important test, and it failed spectacularly. This was the second critical mistake, a catastrophic failure of monetary policy. Instead of flooding the system with money to stop the panic and save the banks, the Fed did the opposite. It tightened the money supply, worried about protecting the gold standard. It was like a firefighter watching a house burn down and deciding not to use any water for fear of water damage. By letting the banks fail, the Fed allowed the country's money supply to shrink by nearly a third. Credit froze. Businesses couldn't get loans to make payroll. People couldn't get loans to buy goods. The economic engine of the country sputtered and died. The financial panic had now become a full-blown economic crisis. With businesses closing and unemployment skyrocketing, you'd think the government's priority would be to get people back to work and encourage trade. Right? Wrong. In an astonishing act of economic self-sabotage, the U.S. government made its third and final critical mistake. It launched a global trade war. In 1930, Congress passed the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. The idea, which sounded good to some, was to protect American jobs by placing massive taxes on over 20,000 imported goods. The hope was that if foreign products were more expensive, Americans would buy American-made goods. But that's not what happened. The world didn't just sit back and take it. In retaliation, country after country slapped their own tariffs on American goods. International trade, the lifeblood of the global economy, ground to a halt. American farmers couldn't sell their wheat overseas. American factories couldn't sell their cars and machinery abroad. Instead of protecting jobs, the tariff destroyed them, both in the U.S. and around the world. It turned a national depression into a global one, spreading the economic poison across the planet. Each country, trying to protect itself, ended up contributing to a collective disaster. So let's put it all together. First, a speculative bubble built on easy credit bursts, wiping out immense paper wealth. This is mistake number one, unrestrained speculation. Second, the ensuing panic triggers a wave of bank failures, which the Federal Reserve allows to happen by refusing to act as a lender of last resort. This is mistake number 2. Passive and destructive monetary policy. The money supply evaporates, and the economy freezes. Finally, in a misguided attempt to protect domestic industry, the government chokes off international trade with massive tariffs, prompting global retaliation. This is mistake number 3. Protectionism and a trade war. These 3 mistakes didn't just happen one after another, they compounded. The crash caused the bank runs, the bank failures crushed the economy, and the trade war ensured there would be no recovery from abroad. It was a chain reaction of bad decisions, turning a recession into the Great Depression, a decade of breadlines, shanty towns, and shattered dreams. The lessons from the Great Depression are as relevant today as they were then. They teach us about the dangers of financial excess, the critical importance of a stable banking system, and the destructive power of turning our backs on the world. It's a powerful reminder that history isn't just something that happens to us. It's something we create through our choices and our mistakes. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into one of history's most defining moments. If you found this explanation valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Until next time, stay curious.